Oh, okay, love you too, big girl. Love you too. Come in. I'm good for you. Or not.
Mr. Ivy, know the show must go on. And for Cincinnati, man, I put on. Jules made another flame for me to cook on. Raise stars, close this year, too strong. Team AI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squad say, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than no. Big knock, not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlative, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like a 10th place, let's hear about it. Who got the info about it? Hey, yo, John don't be the rapper, got a Tevin when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't got an okay play. Who the host with the scoop, yeah, they gon' say it. So superlative, like the Memo,
Cincinnati Reds, hey. One time, where my people at? Team NI, where my people at?
It's the 5-1 Thursday, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time,
Where my people at? Team NI, where my people at? Good morning, my friends, and welcome back. Welcome back. Good morning to you. On today's show, observations from and of the last days that we're living in. Good morning to you. As we get started this morning, I want to say, hope that everybody has had a great week. Haven't been with you much this week. I think I was with you on Monday, not Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And now, again, we're going to end the week together. And as always, it's my pleasure to be with you. Good morning to you. Let me double check everything, making sure that we're looking and sounding good. I believe so. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Yeah, missed you. Good morning to you. But as I said, the last days of NIS, Nathan Ivy Show. This is all a part of it. This is what it looks like. Good morning to you. Observations from and of the last days of common sense. You know, it's a observation that I've made now for many years that we are living in the last days. I don't know if it's the last biblical days, but we are certainly living in the last days of common sense. Common sense is scarce. If you check out the description box, you'll see what I plan to talk about, a smattering of topics related to people, politics, and pleasure, per usual. Before we get too deep into the show, I want to remind you that today's show is brought to you in part by our friends over at Renew Community Church. They offer a Sunday morning live stream. It's a masterclass. You can tap in via Facebook at facebook.com/CINCI Renew, or you can tap in on YouTube at Renew Community Church live stream this Sunday at 11:45 Eastern Standard Time. You never have enough good health, money, relationships, or happiness. Why? Join the 5%. Learn how to attract health, money, great relationships, and happiness. The class is led by Charlie Winburn. And again, you can tap in on Facebook and or on YouTube. What's up, everybody? What up? What up? Great to be with you. I'm well. I'm well. A few people reached out asking what was going on with the show. This is what it looks like. We're going through a little bit of a transition. And I've got some flexibility and I'm enjoying it. I've been running hard for 20 years, man. Get ready for what comes next, though. Hopefully you'll be into it. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. See that poster in the back? I wasn't supposed to take it. I guess, did I steal that? I wasn't trying to steal it. But shout out to the good folks over at UC Blue Ash, Dr. Davis and her team for inviting me out to speak with their students. I only want to be helpful. When I get these kind of invitations, my first reflex is, what am I supposed to say? I don't have anything to share with you. But I just focus on encouragement and had a good time speaking with your students. As I told them, I was you 25 years ago. I was sitting in the same place you were. So I told them my UC story, dropped a few what I call life hacks. Life hacks. You live long enough in this world, in this reality, on this rock called Earth. You should pick up a few life hacks. You know what I'm saying? As a parent, I'm a cheat code for my kids. I offer life hacks for them. That's it. So I offered some life hacks, took a few questions, and I was out. I had a great time speaking with them. And hopefully I touched somebody. I don't know. You never know. Like I said, I can drop these life hacks in your lap, but if you don't do it, it makes no difference. Same thing goes for adults. Good morning to you. But that was a part of some stuff they had up in the lobby to direct people to the right place. I thought it was dope. I brought it home. Then I got a message from Dr. Davis saying, you know what? You were just supposed to take the sticker, not the whole poster. I'm like, oops, my bad. I didn't know. So check me out. Walking at UC Blue Ash with that. It is what it is. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. If you want to share your thoughts this morning, think twice. Think twice before you call in. This ain't no regular degular over here, okay? Think twice. And I want you to open your mind before you open your mouth. If not, that's going to force me to hang up on you prematurely. And it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? This ain't for everybody. I get it. Only a select few will appreciate this. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, hope you're doing well. So I don't know how that works. And then, I tuned in to check out Lincoln Ware show. Lincoln's been off for the last couple of days. I was concerned about bro. Reached out to him. I think he's had a knee. Something's going on. He's feeling better. So I know for folks that listen to my show, then you bounce to his show, you like, what's going on? No disrespect to anybody on the radio, but I know you were like, what the hell? But it is what it is. Change is a part of life. Good morning to you. Let me start right there just a little bit. One of the topics I want to talk about this morning is DJ Akademics. Some of you may know who he is. If you don't, you can Google him, but he's an influencer in the space of hip hop. Most recently, he was one of the hosts of a super dope show called Everyday Struggle. I really enjoyed that show. And then they disbanded the show. They had a good run for a couple of years. It was Complex. That was the media organization that was producing it and putting it out there. And now he does his own YouTube thing and he does some other things he's doing. But he made a very interesting observation about radio. He said radio was dead after the end of the Breakfast Club. Angela Yee is making her own way in the world, which I appreciate. It's a beautiful thing. And the more I heard him talk about it, the more it made me think about it. I'm a creature of traditional radio to some degree. That's how I came up on some levels. And so I still keep my eyes on the industry. So I have a few thoughts about what DJ Akademics had to say that I want to share with you this morning. So get ready for that. But here's where I want to start. I want to start with the fact that this is the first week of school. And I want to say good luck and wish a lot of positivity to all of the students out there, all of the parents, all of the teachers and all of the administrators and all the support staff that, make our schools what they are. And I wish you the best. It's a really interesting thing. My daughter is a senior. She's a freaking senior. When did this happen? She walked around here talking about senioritis. It's the first damn day. I picked her up last night because she's busy. My daughter's busier than most of some adults. She didn't get home until like 10:30 last night with extracurricular activities. She's an athlete. So we're in the car coming back. She's like, yeah, I'm over school already. It's the first freaking day. Talking about some senioritis. Senioritis, you just got there. Gosh darn, damn teenagers. got a teenager and a second grader. And it's so interesting because we have a very close personal friend of the family. In fact, we refer to him as family. His name is Aaron. He goes to Walnut Hills as well. And we've been doing this since they came together many, many years ago, kindergarten, and taking those first day of school pictures of them, the two of them together. Man, we compared the first day of school picture in kindergarten to like the first day of school picture of senior year. They're both seniors now at Walnut Hills High School. Man, it make you want to just burst in tears. You see these little babies, and then they teenagers. It's like what in the hell? It's just a really trippy thing, man. But now I got to go back on edge because as a parent, I'm 100% terrified all the time when my kids are not with me. So now I got to go back to the terror of my kids going to public schools. And I don't know what's going to happen. You know, as a parent, I'm afraid of active shooters. Somebody was bullied and the school didn't respond right. Now they want to kill folks, or somebody didn't raise their kid right. And now they want to kill my kid or other kids, right? You know, something that can happen at these schools. Even though we've had all of these shootings across the nation, you know, what has Cincinnati Public Schools done, right, to make this year a little bit more secure than last year? What, you know, teachers with guns, even though they have a policy against it? I bet you there's some teachers that's carrying guns. You know that. They're not supposed to, but you know they are. Or you just have to believe it's possible. Speaking of CPS, why isn't CPS following its own guidelines? What's up with the mask mandate? Why no mask mandate? We're going back as relates to COVID. We on red, high alert. As I understand it, per CPS's own policy, there should be a recommendation for a mask mandate. Why? It's because we're living in the last days. Those voices in the city that was so against wearing a mask have outweighed the voices and even common sense when it comes to what it takes to keep our kids safe. People acting like this COVID thing is over with. It is not. It is not. It is not. Why isn't CPS following its own policy? I don't know. I don't know. You have to ask them. Perhaps I will. Like, mask ain't a thing. No. Like, your kid can wear a mask, but the problem with that is that if you got one kid in the room wearing a mask and everybody else is not wearing masks, including the adults, how effective is that going to be? I just don't understand how these basic things are so difficult. I don't get it. But it's the world we live in. The last days. That's what it is. Common sense out the window. Science out the window. It's all about feelings and my rights. Don't trample on my rights. I don't get it. It's not that hard. But I guess CPSs don't want to fight the parents that would get local, and they would get, not local, but to get loud about, my kid shouldn't have to wear a mask. It's uncomfortable. That's why COVID is going to beat us eventually. If it's not COVID, it'll be some virus. It'll wipe us out. It's because modern day humans care more about comfort than health. Simple as that. It's not comfortable, but it's the world that we live in. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. What's up? See a lot of people in the chat right now. Dylan writes, radio isn't dead, but it's dying. Internet radio and podcasting are taking over. You know, I used to be more resistant on that until I got a chance to really think about it, and I heard what DJ Akademics had to say. He went on his own show first, and then he went on Vlad TV in the last week and a half, and he talked about this, and he said some pretty things. He's like, so who on radio is really, and we're talking about terrestrial radio, right? Who in terrestrial radio is really pushing the envelope? That's really edgy. And I thought about it. And I had to agree that there's nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even talking about Cincinnati. You're just talking about the nationwide. You know what I'm saying? In Cincinnati, oh my God, you know, terrestrial talk radio is dead. It is on its last leg in some levels, in terms of, like, you know, personalities that's really, really, really got something to say. I ain't trying to diss nobody at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm just giving you my thoughts on it. Like, somebody that really, really has something to say that's edgy, that's different. Like, you ain't had that since me, quite honestly. Since me. Um, and it's sad. It's quite sad. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's been a long week, hasn't it? If you're a local talk radio, I know. Okay, it is what it is. Um, but some of that is because of just the way terrestrial radio was set up. Like I told you, when I was in terrestrial radio, I didn't listen to terrestrial radio. I, I stopped listening to the radio for music a long time ago. And quite honestly, I don't understand why people still do. Again, I have friends in that industry, and I wish them the best. I want them to keep getting them checks, and I wish them nothing but success. But I'm just saying, from my standpoint, when I get ready to listen to Drake, I turn on Drake. I hear when I want to hear a song, I hear exactly what I want to hear. You know what I'm saying? And the radio doesn't break music anymore. The internet breaks music now. So we'll see what happens. I mean, that's a really interesting, and I think on some levels, antiquated business model that terrestrial radio is doing. And again, you listen to somebody that spent a lot of time in commercial radio, public radio. I mean, to set the stage against who you're talking to. So I'm speaking from a qualified position. Even when I was there was things about I didn't understand. Like, I don't know, man. I just really wonder about a lot of stuff, like the rating system, that personal people meter. It's antiquated. You know what I'm saying? Now things are much more instant in terms of getting stats and stuff like that. But I think radio, the number one thing two things that radio has, terrestrial radio has, that still works for it is convenience. You just get in your car, turn it on, and then market share. Everybody knows about it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, they got a lot of visibility. But again, Daryl, who do you listen to that's on terrestrial radio? And I'm not talking about satellite radio. I'm not talking about internet radio. I'm talking about terrestrial radio, like, call numbers, call sign, that kind of thing. Who are you listening to that's really out there, like edgy, challenging the status quo, really doing something? There was a time when radio was everything. You had some great shit, but those nowadays people starting podcasts. And then in the podcast world, you have so much more flexibility in terms of what you want to talk about, the language that you use. And I just think that it just comes across different. But those are just my opinions. I want to get deeper in that though, Daryl. So don't go anywhere. I'll come back to that. Tracy writes, yeah, kids going back to school. I mean, it's a good thing. But now I got to worry about all the shit the parents got to worry about when the kids go to school. So it's like never ending fear. You know what I'm saying? It's like it never stops. These feelings that you have for your kids never freaking stops. And I wish I had more confidence in CPS. And I do on some levels. In my kids' elementary school, they just changed principals. And we had just gotten comfortable with the principal. Then he leaves for whatever reasons. My daughter goes to Walnut Hills, and I've told you, the truth about Walnut Hills on some levels. So I got to worry about that. But she's super excited about being a senior. And when I look at her, I see this young lady. I'm like, who in the hell is this? Anybody that raised a kid, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about already. It's the craziest thing ever. You just be like, who is this person, this grown person walking in here in the refrigerator? Who is this person? It used to be this little kid. It is what it is. But all are well. Our children are well. They had a good summer. They both had a really good summer. I'm proud of Medium Buddha because she did exactly what she wanted to do. She got that get up and get it done gene. My daughter has the get up and get it done gene. Beginning of the year, she said, I want to get a job. She researched it, got her job. She researched it, turned in her resume, filled out the application, secured her interview, went to the interview, got the job, got the bag, and then executed the job throughout the summertime so she could have some spending money. I'm like, well, yo, sis, you really don't have to do this, right? Mom and dad got you. We got you for now. We want you to focus on being a student. She's like, nah, I want some extras. I'm like, okay. What you supposed to say? No. Go and get them extras, boo. So I'm very pleased with her development. I'm very pleased with my son's development. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll keep you abreast of what's going on. Again, if you want to share your thoughts this morning, think twice. Before you call into this show, think twice. This ain't no regular degular. All right. Make sure your flows are sharp and Make sure you got your thoughts together and open your mind before you open your mouth. If not, I'm going to have to prematurely cut you off. I don't want to waste a lot of time. All right. So, but you're always welcome. And that doesn't mean you have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me. You just got to make sense. That's it. See, Lisa, good morning, everybody. David writes, first week of school, drivers slow down and be patient with these new student drivers. Okay. New student drivers, huh? So we talking. Daryl writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Daryl. Good morning, good morning. Sister Sandra's in the house. Good to see you, Sister Sandra. She writes, morning, good people. Praying for our kids very hard. Make a difference. Absolutely. Tracy writes, that's sad, Nathan Ivy. That's our reality with schools. It is. Again, why isn't CPS following its own policy as it relates to masks? It was their policy. We are in the red. Where's the recommendation for a district-wide mask mandate? We're in the red. But it is so true what they say about, you ever heard this story about the frog and the boiling water? So if you boil some water and take a frog and throw it straight into it, as soon as it hits the hot water, it's going to jump right out. But if you put some warm water, or maybe even maybe a little bit cooler water, right, in a bowl or pot, you put the frog in, the frog will sit there, and you turn on the heat, and you slowly heat it up. The frog will just slowly just sit there, and that's what we're doing right now as it relates to COVID. We've gotten so used to living in the red that the red don't even mean anything to us anymore. It don't mean shit. Kim writes, happy Friday, Kings and Queens. It's crazy. They don't even have to wear masks, especially since monkeypox is getting worse. Well, we got a brand new, on some levels, we got a whole lot of new members of the Cincinnati School Board. But in general, Cincinnati is a follower town. We follow other people. So maybe they're going to wait for the Columbus School District or the Cleveland School District to go to mask mandates. And then that gives Cincinnati the justification to do what they should be doing anyway. That's how this city operates on some levels. CPS is ran by idiots who don't have kids in school. That's why they make dumb decisions. Timothy writes, pretty much commercial radio now. What do you mean, pretty much commercial radio? What are you saying, Timothy? Good morning to you, bro. Eloise is in the house. She writes, yes, you're on today. Good morning. Yes, I am. I'm back, Eloise. Back on Friday. What? What? She left again? Man. And so, we have a family. And he just picked our daughter up. And we don't even take her to school. She just get in a car with he not a stranger. She get in the car with somebody else and driving to school. She couldn't be happier. We couldn't be more terrified. Look at my wife. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Look at her face. You all right? It's so funny. I'm about to yell at him. Put that damn phone down. Oh my God! You go tell him. Go tell him, Mom. She watched them in the car right now. They about to leave. It's hilarious, man. Man, this parent shit. You gotta laugh at it. Because if you don't laugh at being a parent and all of the damn stress and responsibility, raise your hand if you like responsibility. Nobody likes responsibility, but you got to laugh at it or it'll drive you crazy. Daryl writes, terrestrial radio, nobody, because I'm not a right-wing hat. Yeah. Oh, my God. Terrestrial radio is heavily skewed to the right, conservative voices. Way more. Even like black talk show hosts, when it comes to like social issues, generally seem to be a lot more conservative, than liberal. There ain't a whole lot of progressive. There ain't a whole lot of strong, entertaining, progressive voices in terrestrial radio. It's not since me in this city. Across the nation, I can't even tell you. And part of that is just my ignorance. I'm not really tuning in to terrestrial radio like that. I got my eyes much more on what's happening in the digital side of things. But I thought that he made a very interesting point. We talk about DJ Akademics. He went on DJ Vlad recently and made the point that he feels like radio is dead. And he says that radio doesn't make radio stars anymore. Like, who's a big radio star right now? Like, I can't think of anybody. Like, who out here is like really pushing the culture and bringing something new to the game in terrestrial radio? It ain't even a whole lot of that in podcasting, especially not in terrestrial radio. Part of that is the corporate structure. Part of that is that, and the corporate structure can stifle creativity. That's part of it. And just radios is way, way, way behind in a lot of different ways. They've just been catching up and doing more podcasting and stuff like that. But it is what it is, man. It's just a conversation piece. Hey, what up, Lannis? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Luddy writes, what up, Grizz? He writes, right. I asked Ebony J on my podcast, was radio dying? She said no, for the same reason you mentioned. But other racial personalities, like Freddie Red, said it is dying. Well, if you because she works in, I know, that's my sis right there. That's my little sis, Ebony J. She does great shit, man. Great shit. I got a lot of respect for her. And the difference between me and maybe other people is that I've told her that. I'm a big believer in giving people their flowers. I tell sis that, so I got a lot of respect for Ebony J. But she's still in terrestrial radio. So if you're in terrestrial radio and somebody asks you on a podcast about it, you ain't gonna shit on it. You ain't gonna say, nah, this shit dying. But I'm gonna sit here until we hit the bottom of the ocean floor. Then I'm gonna swim to the surface. Nobody's gonna say that, right? It wouldn't even be in her own best interest to say that. But again, my question is, do you listen to terrestrial radio? And if so, who do you listen to? Do you listen to terrestrial radio for music? Again, I never have since I was a kid. I can't tell you when I stopped listening to terrestrial radio, but it was somewhere around the long lines of like when CDs came out. Because I can listen to the music that I want to listen to. The days of listening to the radio for 2 or 3 hours to hear the next hottest song is over with. Because most of these artists, they have their own social media profiles. They release it straight to their profiles now. It's straight to their YouTube channel. I can see everything quick. I can watch the video. I can listen to the music. I can go to SoundCloud. I can watch it. I can listen to it. So why would I listen to the radio dial for hours and hours and hours? Now, when I find that I do listen to terrestrial radio, it's typically when I'm in the car. I'm in the car. I got 1,000 things I'm thinking about or whatever, and I want something on as I'm driving, or I'm like, oh, here's an opportunity. But other than that, I'm on this. It is what it is. Do you agree with DJ Akademics? He says that radio is dead, that it's not cutting edge anymore. And there's a lot of validity in what he's saying. Is radio dead? I wouldn't say it's dead. It just has competition. But it's not dead. It's just too convenient. Radio is too ingrained into our culture for it to be dead. It's just too easy to get in the car, turn it down. Now, when you can get in the car and turn the dial and pick up the mass distribution of your favorite podcast and you can listen to your speakers, then radio is going to have a real problem. And those days are coming. What up? Good morning, TNT. Man, NAACP, we got to talk about this. I mean, shout out to our friends over the NAACP again. They are back. They do great work. That's why I fuck with them, man. Because I see what they doing. I don't give a damn. People talking about, it was taught about Jews. I don't give a damn. Sit that monkey. Sit down in the corner. Talking about what happened 1,000 years. I'm talking about right now. Right here, right now. I really respect what the NAACP is doing and trying to do. And I'm privileged to work with them to try to amplify their voices. So we did the first, kicking off the new election season, the My Vote Matters series. They were talking with judges, common pleas court judges, and also juvenile court judges. And it was quite interesting. We did have some technical difficulties. Most of that is out of my control. I mean, everybody has different levels of connectivity. And what I found is, go back and double check. If you got Wi-Fi and all that, you paying all this kind of money, go back and do frequent, once a week, you should be doing a speed check to make sure you're getting the speeds that you're actually paying for. Because what I found is it is not uncommon for people to be paying $50, $60, $70, $80, $100 a month, and you think you're getting a certain tier, a certain speed of internet service, and you're not. Due to bad cables, wiring, inside your house, outside your house. I would double check on that. But I thought it was quite interesting. Yeah, Donietta Bailey, we know her as Donnie B, Is It Just Me podcast. She was the moderator. I thought she did a very strong job, and it was very interesting. Man, there was a current what's his name, CV, I think it is. He's a current judge. He's running against Ann Flotman, and y'all do what y'all want to do. I already know. All right, it's very easy choice for me in that race. But you make your own decision based upon what you think is important. But there was one question she asked him, and he was, how many, he, well, I don't even know. I can't recall. I can't recollect. I'm like, But I thought she handled it like a pro. And then you had Raquel Howard versus Stacey DeGraffenfield. Stacey DeGraffenreid, who is a longtime prosecutor, and quite interesting. I think she might be the Republican candidate. Two sisters, by the way. And in that race, this is just my humble opinion. I thought that Raquel really she really distanced herself from her opponent. I'll put it that way. You should go back and check it out for yourself. But she definitely distinguished and distanced herself from her opponent. It's well worth your time. You should check that out. Okay, so we did it back to back. And then coming up on Monday, we got Fanon Rucker. He'll be your moderator. Of course, CDM will be your virtual producer for the event. Looking forward to it. Really interesting. Really interesting. So well worth your time. If you missed it, it's on their Facebook page, Cincinnati NAACP. You can check it out there and check out what you might have missed. Very, very interesting. These are people making big decisions. We always talk about the courts. Well, they were talking about common pleas domestic court, and they were also talking about juvenile court. It matters. It matters who is in these positions. And let's just say it was very revealing. It was very revealing. And you know what? I don't know, man. These people, some of these folks, man, that's in these positions, they do these debates, and when the questions come up, every answer is, we already doing that. Everything's perfect. Everything's great. We already got it. In particular, I thought there was several questions I thought were really good, but one that stood out to me was a question that Donnie asked about diversity as in magistrates. And the current judge, Seavey, his answer was interesting. Basically, what he said is that they struggle to bring in black folks because black folks can make money in other law firms. But I loved the rebuttal, because moderating is not just about the initial question, it's about the follow-up. You know what I'm saying? A good moderator follows up where the shit needs to be clarified or you dig a little deeper. I thought she did a great job at that, because she was like, his answer was his answer, but it didn't offer any light. So she probed again. And she's like, well, wait a minute. So why is it? So what are you trying to say here? Like what's going to be done here? So you don't have more black magistrates and people working in the office because they get offered money from big law firms, but you got all these white folks. Aren't they being offered money from big law firms? I thought it was a great follow-up. You should check it out for yourself. And it got a little testy too. I like the testy parts. Got a little testy. I like it. I like it when the candidates get, confrontational. I like that. All this shit too polite. Everybody want to be cool. Well, damn it, we ain't all gonna be cool. I'm better than you, and I'm better for the community, and here's why. That's what I want to know. Distinguish yourself. Let me know. All this nice, polite baseball, damn all that challenge, and over with, right? I'm the king now. Remember that? I love to say that. From Black Panther, Killmonger. The rumor is he might be coming back. He might be the new Black Panther. I don't know, but that's the next big movie everybody's gonna be in. I'm working on tickets for me and the Choppers. I'm working on that. I'll let you know if and when I secure it. But, too damn polite. Get confrontational. Let us know why you're better than this. It's two of y'all. Let me know why you're better. I need to hear it. Show me some fire. That's what the electorate wants. Everybody want to be nice and polite. All of that. Get real. Get real for us. Give me a reason to get out of bed on election day and vote for your ass. Okay, and all this nice little talking and politics and that shit. That's why people like Trump, even though he was goofier than a bag of goofies. You know what I'm saying? Straight from Disney, but still, he had fire. You know what I'm saying? That's why these people responded to him. And what in the hell is, man, this Trump-ish is the craziest. It's the craziest story. So now you can just take classified documents back to your house and declassify them with a tweet. Oh my God, this is the most ridiculous thing ever. But people still love it. Liz Cheney lost her primary in Wisconsin. She lost her primary not because of her political record, but because of the fact that she voted to impeach Trump. Yes, there were 10 House Republicans that voted to impeach Trump for his involvement with January 6th. He should have been impeached. He deserved to have been impeached for that. That was impeachable. He should have been impeached. Well, he was impeached, but he should have been removed from office. Okay? So 10 House Republicans voted with the Democrats to move forward for impeachment for Donald Trump. 8 of them has lost their re-election efforts. And that's why the Republican Party is moving more and more to the goofy kooky side. Because you can be, I think I read that Liz Cheney voted with Donald Trump like 93% of the time. So I got mixed feelings about Liz Cheney. On one hand, I give her props because she wasn't willing to go along with the big lie. On the other hand, where was she at when Donald Trump was telling lies about Barack Obama's birthrights? And everybody want to get upset about January 6th. Donald Trump's been lying since the beginning of time. He lied his way into the Republican Party, lying about Obama. Nobody said anything. So why would he stop lying? That's what he does. So, he got a mixed bag. I mean, I don't like her policies. I love the fact that she stood up for what I thought was the right thing. And it cost her. Man, and the woman who is now going to replace her is straight from Kook Land. Straight from Kookyville. But that's what the people in Wisconsin wanted. That's what the people in Wisconsin got. It is what it is. Tell me, we're living in the last days of common sense. Lies have always been a part of politics. We know that. But now, at least with this Republican Party, it's everything. It's really sad and very, very dangerous because we can't even agree on the basic. We can't agree on science. We can't agree on science. What kind of music Junior listening to? I know you got that first Nas Illmatic album in his ear. He's too young for that. Not quite yet. Jane writes, good morning. Kim writes, God got her. Grizz writes, sign, you can't stop the spread of it. Mask on, mask off. Build your immune system up. Monkeypox spread by touch. Be safe. I don't think that's true, Grizz. I don't think that's true per the science. I think what is true is that a barrier, even though it might be a thin barrier, can offer you some protection. It's a small measure. It's a small measure. Plus, it's CPS policy. They ain't following it. But it ain't the first time CPS didn't follow policy. So are we really going to be surprised by it? Timothy writes, commercial buyers controls a lot of what is said on radio. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, when you buy a commercial on a radio store, they don't give you control over what's said on the radio. It depends on your leadership. I've seen it done both ways when I was in commercial radio. I wasn't the program director. I didn't own it. So I didn't have those conversations. But I've told you before, I had conversations like, one time I'm doing a flow on the zoo and why I don't like to go to the zoo. And, I know when I talk about the Cincinnati Zoo, I'm out there because everybody just goes along with this shit. But I don't like going to see no animals locked the fuck up. Why I want to go see that? How is that fun? That ain't fun for me. And then when you go to Cincinnati Zoo, they got all these damn hills. So if a cheetah or a bear gets out, I got to run uphill against a damn bear? The fuck? So I said just that, minus the cursing, right? When commercial radio. Man, I had to have 2 conversations with Radio 1's corporate lawyers and shit. That's what's part of what's stifling. All for them to say, you know what? You ain't really say nothing wrong. But just don't say it again. I'm like, what the fuck? What's wrong with y'all? You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn who the sponsor is. You don't get that. You don't get a chance to control the narrative. You just get access to the audience. You know what you're getting. Take it or leave it. Simple as that. Kim writes, kudos for her wanting and getting the extra. That's those great parenting skills manifesting. Yeah. I was like, sis, you ain't gotta do this. You could be chilling. I want to buy what I want to buy with my own money, Dad. Okay, cool. Inside, I'm beaming with pride. I'm proud dad. Like, yeah, we'll see how that goes. TNT writes, I hate that too. Allow my kids to get in anybody's car, raise my anxiety. Wait until she is driving back home to college from another state. Heart, meek stomach. Oh, TNT, what you're telling me is that the anxiety never ends. It never ends. Never ends. Sister Irish writes, good morning, great people. Good to see you. Crystal Wheelwright writes, hey, Choppers, great morning. Yes, it is. Cass is in the house. What's up with you, Cass? She writes, hey, Nate and Choppers, happy Friday. Dale writes, I listen to WCLK, which is an FM station for Clark Atlanta University, NPR station. They play jazz and fusion music from all over the world. Great station. Okay. Shaba writes, I listen to terrestrial YouTube classics. I was on my Willie Hutch Brothers Gonna Work It Out track just to hear Roger T.C. Mosley, R.I.P. intro for the music from the movie The Mac. Kim writes, it's repetitive, and today's artists all sound the same. It ain't even, for me, I get what you're saying. And on some levels, you're right about that. But for me, it's just the way it's delivered. Like, why would I sit and wait on the radio for you to play my song when I can just go to YouTube and play my song? Or I can go to Pandora. Or I can go to Spotify. And I can play all the songs I like all day long. And if I pay a little extra, I can do it ad-free. Why would I do that? I've never really understood that, but TNT writes, John Seavey versus Ann Flotman. Yeah, boy, that was interesting, man. Diana Bailey, she hit him with a question. Woo, she went straight there. And it was a very fair question. And, I wasn't even aware of it. And I was like, yeah, I want to hear the answer to this. I can't remember his answer. All I remembered, it was like a lot of stammering and stuttering and yabba dabba doing. And then at the end of the day, he said, I can't remember anything. I really can't recall what you're talking about. Then what are you fucking answering then? What are you answering then? You know what I'm talking about. Stacy DeGraffin Reed, yes. Anthony writes, dude was a little upset at a couple issues that he brought up. That's a good moderator. So what? They were all fair questions. I don't think it was unfair at all. And it's just a freaking question. That's it. It's just a question. Kamika writes, was that the implicit bias question? Flopman is the obvious choice. Raquel Howard Smith. That's right. I thought that she definitely distinguished herself. What's up, man?
Dad.
What's going on?
I'm about to leave.
You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Want to say good morning?
Good morning.
All right. Have a great day, all right?
The one thing I really don't like about recess is we go inside earlier because we have to eat lunch.
Okay.
So we go to outside and then we eat lunch.
Oh, okay.
But usually we eat lunch and then we go outside.
Okay. All right. Looking good, bro. Let me see. Looking good. All right. Have a great day, man.
I see you got some brand new shoes.
Yeah, you do, man. Hope they feel better today. I'm ready to get you some new ones. Tabitha writes, good morning. Let's chop it up. Yeah, absolutely.
Who threw my shoes over?
Absolutely. Oh, shoot. What is this? Hello, seniors losing their housing in Cincinnati. Rent up 100%? Why don't we have rent control in Cincinnati? Is that even possible? Or would the state of Ohio block the city of Cincinnati from putting some rent control measures in? Isn't that like obvious to me? Why don't we hear more about rent control? We hear all these other issues. They want to do density, population, and change the density ordinance, all this kind of shit. But why don't we just put a cap on it? Is that even something city council can do? I know that city council, we think city council is omnipotent and unlimited power, but they do not. They can definitely get checked by the state. I'm going to look into that. I don't hear enough about it, but it is what it is. Kavika writes, CV knows good and darn well the domestic relation courts have a backlog and a timing issue. I don't know why he was fronting, right? Yeah, the one thing I got from CV is, and it always makes me wonder about candidates who are incumbents and everything's perfect. We already doing this. We already doing this. What do you mean backlog? There's no backlog. Compared to the other count, I'm like, well, okay. There's nothing to this at all, but he's there. The way he answered the question on taking the implicit bias test was defensive. Everyone has implicit bias, right? Dale writes, Flopman, definitely a better choice. CV fumbled a lot of questions. Raquel Smith accused Stacey DeGraffenreid of copying her answers and not being original with her, and she did. That's what I said. Raquel Smith definitely distinguished herself from her opponent. She wanted everybody to know it. She didn't want everybody to know it. And I learned some things about her background I did not know, which I think could be assets in that kind of world. I don't know, man. I mean, listen, I've got nothing against Stacey DeGraffenreid. She's a prosecutor. I think she's the Republican candidate. So are those 2 strikes against her or no strikes against her? You have to make your own decision. There was at least one thing she said that kind of stood out to me that was kind of a red flag, which I won't get into it right at this moment, maybe in the near future. I'll just say again, and I watched it all actually because I'm behind the scenes, trying my best to make sure things are going well. Let's just say again that Raquel Smith definitely distinguished herself. We'll put it that way. Leave it just like that. You make your own decision. You make your own decision. Daryl writes, it's Wyoming, not Wisconsin. You are correct, Daryl. Flub of the words, in my opinion. You're right about that. From Wyoming. Good morning. Hi, Nathan. Hello, Choppers. Good morning to you. Brian writes, good morning. Brent writes, good morning. TNT writes, loyalty over integrity. Brent writes, zoos are just animal penitentiaries. Right. Everybody's so, what is it? Fiona and now Fritz. Everybody's so excited about a freaking hippo. Like they care more about this goddamn hippo than they do these kids living in Cincinnati in impoverished situations. All this love for a gosh darn incarcerated hippo. I don't care about no gosh darn hippos. I want the animals to be safe in a natural habitat. You know, not laying behind bars, kids gawking at you. You know, we make them believe they like it. Stop it. If we really like the animals, we would have no zoos. So that's just more of that. See, that's that liberal. That's that liberal inside of me coming out again. Yeah. You love the zoo? Yeah. Yeah, most people do love the zoo. Marisha writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Ann writes, oh, okay, Ann's in here. She writes, thanks for the work you did for the forum. Yeah, thank you, Ann. Good morning to you. Oh, you did a good job. You did a good job. Yeah. Close, please. Have a great day, peoples. Junior, David writes, Junior, remember your vibranium. He just walked out.
Remember your vibranium, DJ.
He's like, huh? Regina writes, good morning. So yeah, that's weird, Junior. Right. Tabitha writes, why us, the state, allowing landlords to say no to Section 8? I don't know about that. That whole thing, man, I'm just telling you, man. I'm just telling you, that whole thing. So basically, the pandemic exacerbated shit that was already going on in your life. Right? So if you had problems previous pandemic, then more than likely the pandemic just exacerbated whatever those issues was. And we saw that when it came to housing as well. You know, so you got a lot of folks that already had issues, and then COVID hits, and it just makes everything worse. Why? I think I read it. Mika writes, good morning, Choppers. Today is a good day to have a good day. Make it a great one. Absolutely. Stacy and Raquel both are great choices to me. Okay. Black Russia writes, I don't understand why any Republican do the Cincinnati NAACP forums. It's slanted and biased with little return on views from fair-minded voters. I don't think it's slanted and biased. What makes you think it's slanted and biased? You say little return on views. I don't believe that either. I mean, you're just trying to hate again, Black Russia. I mean, your disdain for the Cincinnati NAACP is always in front of you, man. I'm slanted and biased. I don't think so. I don't think the questions that Donnie asked were slanted or biased at all. Not at all. You know what I'm saying? I can show you what slanted and biased it looks like. It looks a little different. It looks a little different. Like I said, as I was preparing, this was maybe last year, 2 years ago, I was asked to be the moderator for the Hamilton County prosecutor's race. And as I was preparing for it, I wasn't going to be slanted or biased. It's just that Joe Dieters and a lot of these Republicans never get answered. They never get questioned the way they really should be questioned. So when somebody asks them a question that, that's not straight from 700 WLW or 55 KRC or some shit like that, people think it is negative. It ain't negative. It's fair. You know what I'm saying? We was going to have a very fair conversation. And Joe Dieters was going to be asked some questions by somebody that ain't afraid of you. Whatever you're going to do, you're going to do. And the public was going to watch. And we got denied that because, he chickened out of it and did what he had to do and it worked for him. But that's not true at all. I don't think that's true. But, you can have your opinion, brother. Tabitha writes, the zoo is off the chain, taking over Avondale, blocking streets, and I don't hear the zoo donating money to the poor. Again, this is just my idea about the zoo. I when I go to the zoo, I see incarcerated animals. That's what I see. I see animals not in their natural habitat for the entertainment of humans. That's what I see. Okay. Now, I know that's challenging the way you think about the zoo and all that kind of shit, but that's what I do. It is what it is. But do you, though? You like going to the zoo and doing your thing? You have a good time with that. I'm talking about me. You enjoy what you like to enjoy. Nat's in the house. Good morning to you. Brent writes, Black Russia. So was the NAACP biased when your man was running the local organization into the ground? Oh, boy. Here we go with that. Sister V writes, morning, choppers. The Happy Hippo came about to get people to stop talking about the killing of Harambe. People be all into it. They be buying toys and shit and getting 10,000 views about a gosh darn hippo. I wish we had that same concern about these children living in poverty in the city of Cincinnati. But it is what it is. It is what it is. I know. If I don't say these things, who will, right? Sharp writes, TGIF, Nathan Choppers. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and Choppers. Happy Friday. Ray writes, good risings all. Bernadette Johnson writes, God's morning, everybody. Notice the more cultural we get, many nations in America, the more plagues. We start over there, but end in black bloodlines. Could it be Jesus' blood reigns in Africans? Glad to be Queen of Kings, sunrise service. Moving us out, moving nations in. Are we selling our land for footprints in the sand? Bernadette, her genius is on another level, man. Like she got like that Edgar Allan Poe flow and shit, right? It's hard to really figure it out, but when you really dig into it, she's using a lot of symbolism and making some excellent points or making some points. It's too early for the Edgar Allan Poe flow. You ever read Edgar Allan Poe? It's an interesting read, we'll put it that way. You can go check it out. You may or may not get through it. Oh my God. Tabitha writes, I don't like the zoo for incarcerated animals. Okay, I'm not alone here. I'm not alone. Stay woke and vote. That's right. Stay woke and vote. That's right. Absolutely. Let me move on. So we've talked about why the first week of school scares the ish out of me. We've talked about, I've asked the question, why isn't CPS mandating mask wearing? It's their policy. It's their policy. Why aren't they doing it? They're not doing it because of the loud voices of parents that don't want their kids to have to wear masks. That's why they ain't doing it. From the pushback I don't know if it's the majority or the minority of the community. But either way, what's the freaking use of having a policy if you ain't gonna follow it? Hamilton County is in the red. The CDC, the Centers for Disease and Control, recommends that you wear masks indoors in the public. That's what they understand. That's what their recommendation is. There was a time when the Cincinnati Public School Board would look to the CDC for direction. Well, they're fucking giving you the direction. Why aren't they doing it? I just told you what I think it is because of the pushback for the community. Doesn't make sense. It's a small measure, but it is what it is. DJ Academics said that radio is dead. Is he right? That's an ongoing conversation with you. And he's kind of right. He's kind of right about that. Like, radio, because of its market share and its convenience, is not going anywhere anytime soon. But when you think about all of the best talk shows, when you think about the cutting edge talk shows, when you think about like where people really go, to get that, it ain't on radio anymore. It's on YouTube. It's on the internet. It's on the podcast world. It's live streams. That's where people are going these days. And radio is slow to catch up. And in some ways, they don't want to catch up. They don't want to catch up. And so my question for you is, who in talk radio, and that can even be like a morning type of show. Like for the longest time, y'all, I didn't even know that The Breakfast Club was a radio show. I thought it was just a YouTube show. I had no idea first because I really wasn't checking into it. I was seeing things coming across my radar screen. I would check it out a little bit, and that was it. And then I realized after listening to him, because the station that the Breakfast Club is actually run in the Cincinnati market. So I listened to it one morning. I didn't like it because I wanted to hear the conversation. And what I was getting is a traditional morning show with the music and all that. I don't want to hear all that shit. But I'm a talk radio person. There's music people that like that. They want to get up and drive to work. They want to hear the weather. They want to hit the traffic report. They want to get some news. They want to hear some songs. They want to hear little jokes, and they want to go to work. But again, who in radio is really like edgy? Who's really moving the culture? Who's really doing something different? You tell me. That's right, Katie. TikTok Live, right. These social media places, man, they just offer so much more. It's offers so much more. And that's why, when I left radio, I came to digital. But when I was in radio, the program director at the time, Jerry Tyler, was telling me to go digital. So I'm working for you in terrestrial radio, and she telling me to leave terrestrial radio and go to digital. And she was right. She was right. She was right. Tabitha writes, Black radio kills me. No information, all bull crap music, playing the same songs and jokes. If I turn to WOW, I hear news. Is that right? Again, it is what it is. We are where we are. That's why I'm on some create your own shit. That's why I started CDM and started doing podcasting and working with other folks, because I could just see that's where the future is. And that's where I wanted to be. After spending all that time in a corporate structure and not really feeling satisfied and really dissatisfied with the way they did things in a lot of ways, I want to do something different. And I'm glad I did. I would have shot I did it earlier. Tabitha writes, I heard monkeypox can be spread in large crowds. Man, Cincinnati Public Schools is just like the Cincinnati culture, which in a lot of ways is very unfortunate. It's still, why do it today when we can wait till tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at the way that the city of Cincinnati is responding to this shooting. Have you been paying attention to this? Cincinnati's typical, predictable response to the Main Street shooting. So now I'm reading that a judge, Judge Leslie Giz, nobody's favorite judge, she increased the bond for the two men who are being detained for that shooting. I still believe that one of those men should be able to claim self-defense. Why can't he claim self-defense? Because he got a record? Because he black? Why? I don't understand that. I don't care what my record is. I get into an argument with a man. We get into, we fighting. I'll mollywop his ass. He pulls out a weapon on me. If I pull out a weapon, it's self-defense because I'm pulling it out after him. You turned the heat up. You made this lethal. It was just a fight. People fight. Like, this city thinks that it can legislate fights. Like, that shit they try to do on Main Street, they're going to stop people from parking, they're going to block this. And how's that going to stop somebody from getting into a fight and pulling a weapon? It's not. Like, None of the stuff that the city tried to do on Main Street, and then you had the Main Street Business District, they pushed back on it like, look, we think some of these measures is gonna prevent customers from getting to us. So they had to come up with a compromise. That shooting on Main Street took place with 2 officers standing right there. What the fuck makes you think that putting up a speed bump or some cameras is gonna stop it? Meanwhile, just yesterday, there was a shooting at the Wendy's in Warner Hills. And so all this Joe Dieters talking tough, I'm going to lock you up forever, that shit does not dissuade the next shooting at all. Haven't we learned that? All that tough talk, that's all political posturing. That's all that is. The streets don't give a damn about what Joe Dieters said. They don't might care about that. You get into an altercation in these streets and you got a weapon on you, you gonna pull it, period. And I don't give a damn what Joe Dieters said and how many years he gave somebody. So I think the bond for these 2 gentlemen was like $100,000. It got increased to $700,000. And part of the reason of that is that they found some more charges. So they're gonna lap on the charges. They're gonna make an example out of these 2 guys. Why? Why? What good is that gonna serve? So these 2 men, again, nobody died, and I'm happy about that, even though people were injured, and I'm not making light of their injuries. But if the 2 men involved in the Main Street shooting go to jail for the rest of their life, Cincinnati is no safer. We ain't no safer. I don't believe it one bit. I don't believe it one bit. All that is Joe Dieters can flex tough. He's fucking impotence. Get out of here. That don't make you tough. Get out of here with that, Joe Dieters. I'm tough. I'm going to put you away for the rest of your life. If you do something like this in Cincinnati, I'm going to put you away for the rest of your life. What does that do? Destroy more families. Put more burden on taxpayers because we support the prison system here. And it's not going to stop shit. Where are the long-term strategies? And then secondly, I mean, let's be real here. We should be comfortable with shootings in Ohio. You know, all these Republicans, you want to have access to guns. You don't want people to be able to you want them to have constitutional carry. Well, the reaction to that, the consequence of that is people get into arguments. The argument might escalate to gunplay. That's the result of it. So why everybody all going crazy? There was a mass shooting in Cincinnati. It wasn't good. I just felt like there was a knee-jerk reaction. But again, I dubbed Cincinnati knee-jerk reactionary city 20 years ago. It's still true. It was a knee-jerk reaction. They just went overboard because I don't know why. Because of the media picked up on it. It just looks bad. We got to do something. Gotta do something. And the shit you doing ain't gonna do nothing. It's not gonna stop a damn thing. Does anybody think these measures that the city put in place are gonna stop the next shooting? Meanwhile, there was a shooting at Wendy's. 2 people just got shot yesterday. When are we gonna learn? All that tough talk and lock them up and throw away the key. All you do is destroy families for a longer time, put more burden on taxpayers, and that's it. That's all that's going to happen. That's it. That's all. But Joe Dieters, he is so tough. He's like a gosh darn cartoon character out here. I watched the press conference. I'm like, man, he always trying to flex. Joe Dieters always trying to flex. I mean, you did this in front of a police officer? Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, and? Well, you act like that means something. Nobody cares about that when you get into a fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if the police are standing right next to you. What I'm supposed to do? Run to you and say, he pulled a gun on me and fired shots at me. I got a weapon on me, right? I get into a fight with a dude, I'll whop his ass. He get mad and pull a weapon on me. Bling, 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 bling. I got a weapon on me. I'm supposed to run to the police and say, can you save me? Who in the fuck is doing that? Nobody. Nobody is going to do that. If that's what the expectation is, Joe Dieters wouldn't do that. Nobody in the world is going to do that. You're going to return fire to try to save your life. Period. Oh, the police are right there. Like this made it more outrageous or something because the police are standing there. The police don't stop crime. They react to crime. Simple as that. As simple as that. But it'll make the people in the suburbs feel better temporarily. Oh, yeah, they're getting a lot of time. And people go back to sleep into the next shooting and we'll get fake outraged again. And then we have to give people 100 years. That's just stupid. I'm not saying I got all the prescription, but I know that shit don't make sense. I can tell you that much. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134 if you want to share your thoughts this morning. But before you do, think twice. Open your mind before you open your mouth. That's it. Let's move on here. A memo to Tevin Campell. No one cares about your sexuality. Nobody give a damn if you gay. So what? Tevin Campbell was on a podcast. What I tell you, all the cool shit happens on podcasts. It's not happening on terrestrial radio. Tevin Campbell opens up about his sexuality. Yeah. Tevin Campbell opened up about his sexuality. He was on a podcast most recently called People Every Day. And he opened up about his sexuality, 45 years old. Anybody, any Tevin Campbell fans out there? Everybody loved Tevin Campbell from back in the early 90s. He had a great voice. Quote, I didn't hide anything about me. I didn't try to act a certain way or anything. You just couldn't be gay back then. You see, he couldn't be gay. And unfortunately, like I told you, man, one of the saddest things is that black people love them some Luther, but because of black people's homophobia, Luther had to die in the closet. So did you really love Luther? I mean, if you really love somebody, you accept them for who they are. But back then, I don't think a lot of black people could have accepted that. I always knew Luther was sweet. Never made a difference to me. I mean, hey, do you? The man was blessed with a gift from God. I mean, Luther's voice, we were all blessed to hear his voice while he was here. That don't take away from his talent. So what? Give a damn who you sleep with. So what? Can you hit these notes? Put out some dope songs. That's me, though. Some black folks, all in their feelings. I think we're much more accepting now, but I just remember, man, like being on the air, even in commercial radio, having to argue with black people about their damn homophobia. Shit got old. Now, how you going to complain about being a victim of isms and racisms, and then you going to try to do the same thing to gay people? Oh, Nate, that's different. People used to say to me, it ain't no different. Now it's just now the world is different and people are much more accepting about it. But by and large, Tevin Campbell, nobody cares if you're gay or not. Man, give a damn. Memo, we don't care. We already knew. Who didn't know that Tevin Campbell was sweet, that he liked men? We all knew that, or we thought it. We were still blessed. He still had a great voice. So what? Sometimes I feel like people, part of me feels like people really get caught up with shit that really don't matter. But the other part about that is he's right. Like back in the early 90s, the vast majority of black people were not as accepting to homosexual lifestyles and being gay as they are today. They just wasn't. They just wasn't. Now people are way more accepting. Way more accepting. Way more accepting. And this is really, really sad. It's really, really sad. I think that if you're gay and you're an entertainer, you should be who you are. Shit don't make no difference to me. If I rock with you, I rock with you. It don't make me gay because I accept the fact that you're gay. My sexuality is super intact. But there's a lot of people that feel that way. There's some people that still feel that way. I've never been one of those kind of guys. Luther died in the closet because of black people's homophobia. And now Tevin Campbell says he's gay. Okay, Tevin, great for you, man. I mean, I'm all for people living their life and, walking their walk and all that kind of stuff. I'm happy for it. If coming out, gives him some relief and all that kind of shit, go right ahead. But we already know, boo. Who didn't know that about Tevin Campbell? Raise your hand if you didn't know that. Trinice writes, quit putting racism and LG community in the same space. I mean, do we really need to have this conversation, Trinice? I mean, they kind of are in the same space in the sense that you got people that will be discriminated against because of, something they were born with. You know what I'm saying? You were born that way. God made you gay. It is what it is. God made you black. It is what it is. It's an immutable characteristic. So, we can argue about whether it's immutable or not. For me, I think people are born that way and they find themselves. And just like we know people are born black. So in that way, it is. It is the same. And I know black people, I know some of the crowd ain't gonna like this, but let me burst your bubble. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that deal with discrimination for a lot of different reasons. Their sexuality, disability, and their race. I know black folks think that we got a monopoly when it comes to racism. And our history is unique and should be dealt with in a unique way, but we can't overlook what's happened to other people. That would be just as wrong as the people that overlooked what happened to us. We can't beat us. That's not a winning hand. It's not a winning hand. That whole, just black folks is going to do this all by ourselves. It's us against everybody else. Tell me where that's ever worked out. Tell me where it's ever worked out. All right, we got a call on the line. Let me go straight to it. Good morning to you. Let me say good morning and welcome. Hey, good morning.
Can you hear me okay?
I do hear you okay. Yeah, TNT.
Okay. I'm calling from my car, but I was just calling about the candidates forum. With thanks to digital media, as always, we make it possible for us to have these virtual platforms on the level that we have them, and it's always, the great visuals, and people enjoy it. And last time I checked, we was like steady on our way to like 800 views. So for the very first race in judicial candidates, which they don't really get a lot of, opportunities to showcase their platforms. That's why many of them are very, very appreciative. When there's something available to share with the community about, their race, we do it on a level and we make it interesting. I learned a lot with both of the races, dealing with family court, essentially juvenile court. A couple of years ago, we had a female who, lost her kids. Basically lost a child for having a health condition, and I had played her video for another juvenile court race to show her, explaining what happened to her. She just had a stroke. Her motor skills are a little bit slower. And, Job and Family Services felt like, well, you're not really capable of taking care of one of the kids that have a disability. And showcased her story. And, actually, it was the commissioner's race. And, shortly after that, she was able to get her kids back because she needed an advocate. And what we explained was basically, instead of taking her child away, how about providing services? How about advocating for her to get services like home health aid? And so then it was, it gave her 24-hour access to aid, and she was able to have her child back. But that should have been the alternative to begin with. And so, still dealing with, families that have these situations. When I tell you the NAACP gets all types of calls, people are losing their children every day. I'm so happy to have had the opportunity to pose some of these questions that are affecting real families every day. And to have someone like Diana Bailey, who is close to these type of cases and deal with it, and to be able to ask the right questions, they are all fair. We hold our platform, our forums is also an opportunity to, hold people accountable for their actions. And that's on both sides. We had to do it with ASCAP, when he had some situation going on with the money. It would not be fair to not pose that question when it's something that we know the community wants to know. So it does not matter what their political affiliation, if there is some She didn't really have that much, but we still was able to ask her similar questions that, required real answers, like the implicit bias test. So people have to be prepared on the way that they respond. We have no control on how a person responds to the question. Judge John Phoebe, he could have simply just declined. He went on and kind of just left himself out there to be exposed, I guess, in a way. But I think the question was fair. The question was something about a case that he had as it relates to him being a judge and him overseeing. And what I learned about magistrates, like, they mainly handle the cases that comes into the courts, but if the family disagrees with the way the magistrate ruled or their decision, they have an opportunity to appeal to the judge. And then the judge goes over and checks the work of the magistrate to see if, what was, whether it was fair or, not within the law or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so the question was simply, you had a person who disagreed with her ruling. She was being forced to pay, I guess, $500 to a fatherhood group as a form of punishment. Do you think that was like a fair, judgment? And you tend to rule with your magistrate, and that person had the person who, or the defendant, she went and filed an ethics complaint or whatever, saying that it wasn't fair or whatever. I guess everything came back that, he wasn't in trouble or anything else, but it was just like, for what it was, do you think that was the right decision? Would you have, changed your mind and just after thinking about it a little bit more, did you agree? You could have just simply said, I chose what I chose, I agree what I agree, and yeah, I felt it was fair and gave explanation to why. You know what I'm saying? He just went on and it's like, well, it didn't seem like he disagreed with what he went with. You know what I mean? So it's just like, it didn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's the way he chose to answer it. So we have no control over that. I think it was really good with Stacey Gresham-Reed and Campell Howard Smith. I mean, and let me say this: if people did not learn how to, do these forums, Campell Howard Smith came prepared. I mean, I would say she was like Beyonce and had the beehive in the chat, because it seemed like every other question someone was throwing out her website. People, candidates, if you are listening, you need to remember to, always be showcasing your platform. So sharing your website, putting that in the chat. I thought that was really, really smart. And she just had a team of people, I guess. It's just like if we was in person and people were coming in there, with their medium cram t-shirts. They got the team. You know what I mean? So we just had an online team that was not playing, and basically was keeping the people that was, watching in the background an opportunity, like, hey, check out her website. Hey, this and that. She had cheerleaders basically. But I think in preparation of the questions, I learned a great deal. I think, if people watch these forums, it is clear to distinguish, where you want to, lead to. Just people gave really, really good answers, and that's what these forums are about, for you to be informed, and then empowered. A lot of people are going to go to the polls, and they're going to look at these names and not know nobody from anybody. And oftentimes, especially with judicial candidates, at least in the past, we would just go with name recognition because they didn't show the political party of the judicial candidates. So we always made it important on those flyers, to show who's Republican, who's Democrat. And that kind of really set the table. And now I believe the law has changed, where now they do show on the ballot judicial candidates' political affiliation. So that eliminates that, but it still requires the work. And so these forums allow people to learn more in depth about these candidates than you would just possibly on your own. And then we do these informational videos where we're showing their website, their logos and everything else, all fair and opportunity to everyone. So people can go outside these platforms and do the research for themselves. So Monday, we have more races. It's going to be, like Nick just said, Attorney Fanon Brucker of the Cochran firm as our special guest moderator. And we will have the race with Bernard Mundy, Megan Shanahan. I don't believe she's going to be there. Jennifer Kinsley, Robert Winkler, and let me see here. And Christopher McDowell, Jody Luber, Anisha Koshin, and Betsy Sunderman, domestic relations. I mean, we're really going to have it all wrapped up. And then the following week, we'll have the races for Supreme Court Justice and Chief Supreme Court Justice, which is the Jennifer Bruner and Sharon Kennedy race. But, they're already justices. It's really a fight to see who's going to be the Chief Justice, which is the head person of all the, Supreme Court justices. So you want to tune in. It's a lot of questions and information out there. Thank you for everybody who has tuned in. Please continue to like and share, because when you share, you're doing your part to empower our community in a greater way. So share it on your page and in groups that you know, so we can get this information out there. We don't have a lot of time, and this is a big election year. So thank you.
All right, TNT, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. All right, got to take a quick break. When we come back, I got a chance to connect with the real Terrence Howard. Been a minute, and I want to tell you a little about that conversation and kind of look back just a little bit as I further explore this question about whether I think that radio is dead. If you want to share your thoughts, I'll throw the number at you. But again, remember this: open your mind before you open your mouth. 513-873-7134. We will be right back.
Thinking about you, babe. What can we focus on? What we should do? Tell me the truth. 'Cause I don't wanna see you with somebody else. And I've been feeling lonely in this king size bed. I'm trying not to worry about the things you say. I ain't got the time, you're always on my mind. Baby, why you playing with my life? Trying to be patient with you now. I'll never be sober. You don't hold me closer. Look me in my eyes and tell me I'll have the time. I'll have the time. Think about us, babe. Your body's so beautiful. All I want is your love. Can't get enough. 'Cause I don't wanna see you with somebody else. And I've been feeling lonely in this king size bed. I'm trying not to worry about the things you say. I ain't got the time, you're always on my mind. Baby, why you playing with my life? I'm trying to be patient with you now. I'll never be sober. You don't pull me closer. Look me in my eyes and tell me I'll make the time. I'll make the time.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Nathan Ivy with you. One man, one microphone, one mission. Today's show is brought to you in part by our friends over at Renew Community Church. They offer a Sunday morning live stream. It's a masterclass. You can tap in on Facebook, facebook.com/Cincy Renew, CINCI. Also, you can tap in on YouTube, Renew Community Church live stream. Join the conversation this Sunday at 11:45 a.m. So it could work like this. 10 a.m. Sunday morning, check out Edna House Straight Talk. She'll be with you from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. She's got Gilbert Young, artist, coming on the show. And then you can go on over to Renew Community Church's either Facebook or YouTube channel and check out the live stream at 11:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join the 5%. Learn how to attract health, money, great relationships, and happiness. That will be the topic this Sunday. Again, Renew Community Church. I got a chance to talk with the real Terrence Howard, by phone just a few days ago, man. And it had been a minute since I talked to my bro, man. We had such a great time. I always like working with the real Terrence Howard. I work with a lot of different, you want to say producers, board ops, engineers, however you want to look at it. A lot of good folks, very, very talented. My two faves, of course, were Mr. Lamont from The Night Show and the real Terrence Howard. Sometimes you work with somebody and you just click. You have a creative bond. You share a vision. And that's what happened with me and both those two gentlemen. And we did great radio. We did great radio together. When I first got the radio, Mr. Lamont was a producer. I never knew the brother. We just got to know each other night to night and struck up a bond and a shared view on a lot of things. I learned a lot about hip hop from him, the homie Daryl as well, keeping me abreast of what was going on in the culture in terms of some of these shows. I really appreciate that. And then when I did what I did and recognizing what they brought to the table, it just kind of worked. So Mr. Lamont was the first producer I worked with, and that night show was great. We did a lot of great radio, a lot of great shows. And then during the early morning show with the real Terrence Howard, another brother from another mother, another kindred spirit, and we just sort of clicked, and it just worked. Highly talented, so we was catching up a little bit, and I hope to see the brother real soon. Maybe catch up for lunch or something, and see one other face to face. His mother passed away, and he's still been dealing with that. And since then, my mother's passed away, and so I understand that pain. I understand it. It takes, you never get over something like that. I get it. But I just went back in my head a little bit when I talked with Terrence this past week. It was a good time. I hadn't talked to him in a long time. But it was good. It was good. Most deaf. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. You said she sounded like she was in a tunnel. I think she was in the car. Sandra, she loves the music. Great. Brent writes, I haven't listened to terrestrial radio in almost 20 years. I listen to podcasts like this, to Sirius XM, to my own music playlist. And Brent, I think your consumer habits are what most people are doing these days. They really are. I think the radio is in trouble. Like in the city of Cincinnati, in terms of terrestrial radio, who out here is really doing something that's like, I really got to turn in? You know what I'm saying? Again, I'm not trying to shit on nobody because everybody got their phase. But I'm saying, are there any new voices of people that's really like, doing what I did? Let's be real. Really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? And it could be there because, like I told you, I confess I don't really listen to a lot of terrestrial radio, so I could be missing it, no matter where it is on the dial. But you tell me. I know many of you listen to terrestrial radio, perhaps, and you jump around the dial and all that kind of stuff, as most people do. I think there's something to that. What happens next in the future of radio? I don't know. But let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome.
Nathan Avery?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Sandra Jones-Mitchell. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Sandra Jones-Mitchell. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Yes. I listen in, sometimes I just get so busy right now on my way out the door. And I put in your comment section that a lot of our seniors are losing their houses.
Yeah.
Rent is going up. It is so frightening. I tell you, they're living in hotels. They got to put their stuff in storage. So I would just urge family members to just check on them. Some of these folks have been living in some of these apartments for 15, 20, 30 years. I'm going to pay a lady's rent now. Not the rent, the hotel, because she's got to move out her place. She was paying $475, it's up to $920. Who can pay that in a one-bedroom apartment when you only give it $815? You can't pay that kind of money. And then I get these calls all week long. And it's really heartening to where sometimes I really have to shut down mentally in order to get back up strongly to help deal with some of the ills that I see in our community. And it's not right. And we need a system. I know you can't tell a private landlord how to raise their rent, but we can demand that they give these seniors enough time to find another place. And we need to work with these landlords. They need to be able to work with the community to say, what's out here? What's affordable for seniors? There's not enough senior affordability housing out here. It's just not happening. And those that are out here, they need a lot of work. They need some oversight. They need people to go in and make sure that things are in order for some of these folks. And I know some of these people that I work with, they have family members. But if your family member is struggling, you can't help grandma. You can't help me. And so we need to figure out a system, a better system. You said earlier, we said come bold, be different, and I think a lot of times we are afraid because we don't want the repercussion of what may happen afterwards. We'll lose some of our status and all that crap, and it really has got us jacked up to where we just don't know how to have real conversations. And I am so, I want to say pissed off, but I'm just so disappointed in some of the stuff that I see happening. I mean, I've been at this for 40 years. I'm 61 years old. I was so excited when I first started this community stuff. I thought everybody was going to be on board, but everybody cared about other people. That's not the truth. They don't care, and so I get it. And then I watched the news this morning, which is what prompted my call. Cincinnati is #1 with the rent hike in the nation.
Wow.
So that is something we need to look into. Rent hike in Cincinnati. And so what's happening is folks are going to be living on our streets. We're going to see the homeless increase because people can't not afford rent. And it's just not right. And so that's my platform. I'm hoping that we can get some sort of, I don't even know. I don't even know. So maybe someone in your listening audience or choppers can say, we can do this, we can do that. But those folks that are selling your property, my message to you is give the folks an opportunity to find another place before you sign on that dotted line and move a 90-year-old woman out of her apartment. She's been in for 20 years. Where is she going? Where she's going to go is a nursing home. And she'll die within 2 years. I'll give her a year because the spirits are broken. When you got stuff in your house that you've had forever, now you got to put in the storage that you can't afford, right? And it's just not right. So community, I do my thing. I work every day. I work so like every day. My husband be like, okay, baby, it's time to stop because it's huge. It's bigger than me. So I just thank God for the opportunity to share this information. And then make one other thing, that Martin Luther King monument that was beaten out to an outsider outside of Cincinnati. A little disappointed in that because that community was under the Avondale Community Council when I was the president of Avondale. And before that, it was up under Patricia Milton. There's no way the city of Cincinnati should have been able to step in and say, okay, Avondale Community Council, you can't do this, which we couldn't, right? I'm going to be honest, because we needed other players. But once folks start telling the Avondale Community Council, it needs to be like this, it needs to be like that, they rally around, went down to the city and say, okay, this is what needs to happen if we're going to put our dollars. I think at the time, Christopher Sligerman put in $1 million. So once you don't use your own money, when you don't have your money, people dictate to you what you do with their money. And so that is what is happening. And, I think Martin Luther King would be so disheartened in what is happening in our community and how we glorify everything, but we don't have nothing. We don't have nothing. What do we have? Most of the buildings we have our businesses in, we don't own the building. So if the landlord wants to put us out, all they have to do is give us a vacancy notice and we out. And so we need to be thinking of ownership. I've been saying that forever. I mean, they had Michael Eric Dyson at Corinthian Baptist Church, which is my church home. I love Michael Eric Dyson. But I know his messages. I've been listening to that man for 40-some years. I don't need to hear Michael Eric Dyson tell me what to do and what not to do. I don't need that. I don't need people to say, oh, we need to get fired up. No, I need you to do some damn work. I need you to get out here and help some people, help our kids, help them cross the street safely, go inside the classrooms and help with some of the behaviors. That's what we need. Today, I just pray that the day comes that we understand we are responsible for our future. When you spend all of your money, you won't have anything. So we got to be thinking 10, 20, 30 years from now. What do we want to leave for our family? And we got to work hard at it. We got to be so hard. We got to be bold about it. And we got to do it. And so I'm just excited. I'm excited that the possibility that we are going to win this war, because it's a spiritual warfare that is happening what I've seen. And I just feel so bad. They worked hard. But you know what? I'll say this. When I started Sexuality, 90% of the seniors that I work with own their own homes. Now I bet it's less than 1% that own their own homes. And so things change because we sold mom and dad house for $50,000, $60,000 worth $2 million. I'll never understand that. I tell folks, if you own property in Avondale, do not sell it. I don't care if you gotta keep it dormant. Don't sell your property. You think, oh, the line is worth billions? Avondale is next. It's going to be the gateway to the north. I'm telling you what I know, but I know for sure it's going to happen. You won't see people there. You won't see businesses and organizations and institutions in Avondale in the next 5 to 10 years. Do we want to be a part of that? You better get on board now, because the train has left the station. And so we got to be mindful of what this is. So we're celebrating God's family this weekend. Be proud of that. Celebrate your family. Start with your family. And then branch out to somebody else's family. Because our people are hurting on the flip side. So I can celebrate my 30 year. I heard you talk about Gabrielle is going to be on Agnes' show. I love Agnes. She gave me my first award. My very first. She recognized what I was doing with so like 30 years ago. And here I am 30 years now still standing. So God must have a plan for Sexuality. But I also got to have a plan for Sexuality. I got to have a succession plan. I got to pass it on. Because I'm 61, so I can't do this forever. So I got a niece who's 30, who's my right-hand woman, who I'm going to pass the torch to. Because she is going to have to take it to the finish line. And then she's got to pass the torch to somebody else. So that's what we have to do. So Gabrielle is coming here to speak. Because London didn't have 54 years old. Now he's 82. And I told him then, I said, you're going to be a part of Sexuality at what point of your life? And here it is. He's 82 years old, still doing his own thing. So people understand that we all have a role to play, and we must leave a legacy for our children and their children. So thank you for allowing me to spill out my feelings this morning. Pray for our seniors, families, so help them do more than what we're doing. So I thank you, Nate. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you for the call, Sandra. Yeah. Yeah, that woman. A couple of things about Sandra Jones that I don't have to really tell you. Number one, she cared about her community. You can hear the emotion every time she comes. I have conversations with Sandra away from the mic all the time, and one thing that's consistent is her care for the community. There's no doubt about that. Anybody say anything different about Sandra Jones Mitchell? Don't know what the fuck they talking about. That's for damn sure. And then number two, she never told me something that I found out was wrong. So when she says that Avondale is going to be the gateway for the North, she's telling you because she was the former, most recently, just until recently, the president of the Avondale Community Council. I've had many conversations with her. She keeps saying the same thing about what's happening in Avondale. If you got property over there, don't sell it. It's going to be worth a lot of money. Don't sell it. Don't sell it. Hold on to it. And also, here's what the plan is for Avondale. Avondale, if you're listening outside the greater Cincinnati area, is a neighborhood in Cincinnati. I don't know how far it is from the center city, but it's in a perfect location. It's in a great location. You got access to everything in the greater Cincinnati area. The Cincinnati Zoo is in Avondale. We were talking about that most recently. We were talking about the Cincinnati Zoo earlier, at least I was. It's a really, really prime location, quite honestly. Reading Road goes through Avondale. You know, it's a very, very major, I think it's like even an interstate, right? Here in the city of Cincinnati area. So Avondale is on the way up. You see what's happening. And it's so unfortunate and unfair in a sense because these opportunities happen, but if you already have some money that you can invest in, and you can't do anything about it. You just watch it happen. Tabitha Rice, I'm here for Sandra Jones Mitchell. Me too, absolutely. She shows a lot of love for the community. She really, really cares, and I'm glad she's here talking about our seniors. We all want to be seniors one day. I know I want to be a senior. So I've always thought that we don't put enough for that. These people give so much. They get older, we want to forget about them. That shit wrong. I support her 1,000%. 1,000%. Tracy Dillingham says, hi, good morning to you. We need to meet at one place and keep going to that one place for resources and information. Nakia writes, I love her enthusiasm and support to the elders. Absolutely. TC writes, anybody looking for cheap gas? Go to the Marathon in Covington, 639 or 369. Right. 369. I love that. Roy writes, good morning, everybody. Mika writes, yes. Sandra, I keep telling Avondale homeowners not to sell, especially to developers and those people. Pamela writes, back in the Buzz early days, Big Daddy always talked about never selling grandma's house and hold on to your property. Big Daddy. That's right. Timothy writes, their families don't maintain or keep the properties, don't pay the taxes. Then banks come in and take it. Happens in our communities all over the country. You're right. It's hard to hear your caller. Is that right? Anybody else having that issue? I'll try my best. A classroom writes, can't believe Nate is no longer wanting to be in front of camera. The zoo wants all of Avondale. So the whole of Avondale is going to be the Cincinnati Zoo. That's a lot of animals behind bars. Mika writes, yes, Nate, Avondale is centrally located. I can get anywhere in 15 minutes. Right. Great location. Great location in Avondale. You can get anywhere. 15, 25 minutes. You can get anywhere in the greater Cincinnati area you want to be. Anywhere there's anywhere to go, you can get there. It's all about educating each other. Well, I'm glad she called in to educate us. I appreciate that. When you're building a show such as this, you need people to lift you up. And she's one of those people. I appreciate her. Most deaf. Let me talk about the typical predictable response from Cincinnati. So we know you had this mass shooting on Main Street going back last Sunday. And since then, there was a big manhunt for the two individuals. And now the bond has been raised and there are additional charges in the OTR shooting that wounded 8 people. I think it's very, very serious. You shouldn't be taken lightly, but this ain't going to stop anybody. It's not going to deter anybody. Like, people that do this kind of shit don't think they're going to get caught, or they're justified in doing it in the moment. And, I read that they was putting up barricades on the street. How is putting up a barricade on the street going to stop something? Like, this is what Cincinnati does. Like that whole space down there is made for walking traffic. So you can walk from block to block to block, right? They got bars and restaurants down there. You walk in. And so people congregate outside. So after the shooting, and I guess the city wants to do something, but this is what you're doing? They want to put up barriers, increase the police presence. Now, riddle me this. How is increasing the police presence going to deter anything? When you had a shooting with 2 police officers who were present, they were standing right there. How's that going to stop anything? What else did they do? They were blocking the roads and the sidewalks. And then the business owner said, nah, this is unpopular because it's going to deter customers and it's going to make it almost impossible for people living with disabilities to navigate to try to get to our business. It's all knee-jerk reactions. You know what I'm saying? So now let me back up here in this article. I'm looking at a WCPO article. So the bond with one of Diablo McCoates, originally he was being held on a $100,000 bond. But the Judge Leslie Gibbs, decided to raise that on Thursday to $750,000. $750,000 bond. Somebody told me that Joe Dieters was down the dial talking about how Leslie Gibbs is going to do the right thing. They got this whole debate going on right now about Democrat judges being too lenient and letting people out on bond, even though that's a part of the process. So Leslie Gibbs comes in and says, you know what? We're going to make sure $750,000 bond. Ooh, way to go. You're really changing the system, Leslie Gibbs. Why didn't we think about this before? Yeah, that's how we stop this. That'll stop them from committing a crime. We're going to give you a super high bond that you can't possibly pay for, meaning you can't get out. Meanwhile, shootings in Cincinnati keep on happening. But I think that plays well with the conservative crowd. They love that kind of shit. It like makes them feel safe. At least he won't be getting out tonight. Glad to know we got some people that really care on the job. All a waste of time. Same old shit we always do. Same old shit that we always do. And I just wonder if it's going to be effective. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Not one bit. Shootings on the banks. Shootings on the square. Shootings on Main Street. I'm not saying we should throw our hands up and try to do nothing. I'm just saying, like, can we try something different this time around? That's all I'm asking for. I know, like, if you're the mayor, if you're ABTAB, you got to do something. If you're the prosecutor, you got to do something. I get it. But can we try something different? Something that could be long-standing? Like, here we are getting ready for the Black Family Reunion this weekend. Are you going down? You might see us out. And I think the Black family needs to be celebrated. 100%. We need to celebrate the Black family because there's a lot of shit that the Black family is dealing with right now. We're dealing with a lot of external shit and a whole lot of internal shit. So any spaces where we can get together and be family and just celebrate that is a great thing. Anything that reinforces the family unit is a great thing. It's a great thing. I hope we don't have no issues. I'm not anticipating any issues. I'm just hoping we don't have any issues in terms of police and youth interactions or anything like that. Hope it's a great event. But, you know, it's going to be open to everybody to come down and have a good time. And some people might bring the wrong mentality. I hope it doesn't happen that way. Okay. Nakia writes, their whole frame about is to lock Black people up like animals at the zoo. They seem to really think that locking people up and giving them a lot of years is somehow going to reduce crime. It's never happened. We tried that. And the only thing that happened was we destroyed families. And we spent a lot of money from taxpayers' perspective. That's it. We didn't attack crime. Crime didn't go down one bit. Bill Clinton tried this with the 90s. Remember this? That's when you had the mass incarceration of Black people. It was Bill Clinton. Truth in sentencing. 3 strike laws. There was one more. So essentially it meant more time, more time, more time. I guess that was Bill Clinton's compromise, right? He offered y'all up. And what happened? 20 years later, they said, you know what? 3 strikes rules, they don't really do anything but bloat the system. Truth in sentencing, what was that? That meant like if you got sentenced for 20 years, you did every bit of that 20 years. There was no time off for good behavior. Truth in sentencing, like whatever you get is what you get. And what they find out 20 years later, that all it did was destroy families, lock people up way past the time they should have been, take a lot of money from taxpayers, and that's it. Is it? Like, if Joe Dieters is so effective with all, and if he's so effective with all this shit he's doing, then why we keep having the same conversation about crimes and murders? If he's so effective. But I guess the mentality is, well, if he wasn't out here, then it would be even worse than it is right now. I just don't get it, but it is what it is. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. So we talked about Tevin Campbell. Nobody cares about your sexuality. If you gay, great. You gay. Big fucking deal. Stop telling us about coming out. You ain't got to tell the world. Just do you. But I guess they asked him, came up with a podcast, so he answered. But generally speaking, when I see people coming out of the closet, I'm like, okay, why were you ever in the closet? Well, because of America's discrimination. That's why. It's a sad thing. It's a very sad thing, but it's true. Very, very sad. Good morning to you. Listen, I had planned to jump off at 9. I got somewhere to be at 11, and I need these next couple of hours to get a couple of things in order, okay? So I got to make a move. I really appreciate you for being here. I do plan on being with you on Monday. In fact, I might even go live tomorrow as well. Haven't been with you a couple of days. There's a couple of things we should get caught up on. So look for that. Look for notification. But I certainly plan to be with you on Monday morning, and we'll chop it up. Check out Straight Talk Live with Edna Howe on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. At the very least, send her a message or DM and congratulate her. She is going to be inducted into the Dayton Broadcasting Hall of Fame, which I think is well deserved. I plan to be to be there to celebrate with Edna, and maybe you will as well. With that, my friends, have an excellent Friday. Remember our motto: winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm Nathan Ivy, and I'm out.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I hurt you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the pen. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a fuck, that's what they don't understand. Back again like 06 and I broke records.